Hi there. Software development is a challenging task. So every project could face multiple different challenges. In blueprint phase, we are covering in this video 6 requirement gathering issues. So let's get started. So the first issue is manager inadequate knowledge. So if manager is not knowledgeable in the software development or in the software they're implementing, that could cause a lot of issues. So number two, requirement of business. So in many cases, it is requirement gathering is turned around as a requirement of business or business requirement. So that is one of the key issues that is there. And also solution in requirement gathering, people engagement and management, politics, insecurities, feedback. So we will cover all of these in detail. So let's get started with the first one, and we will cover some with examples. So let's get started. Manager of pilot and directed them how to fly. For example, senior pilot is always a pilot, but if you put someone is not a pilot into the in the plane and have him direct the pilots, that could cause a lot of issues, and instead of giving them direction, it can give them a misdirection and it can cause the plane to crash. So that is one of the reason that we can understand why a project fails. And also, do best methodology help? So for example, manager could have scrum master or project manager, whatever they have. So this depends how sincere they are with the methodology. In many different projects, I never seen any project where they stick to the methodology and it's not got deviated into the project. So it doesn't matter what its outcome is, methodologies are not always followed to the T. We can make an argue on this. You need to argue that you need to follow through the T or not, but the methodology get deviate in project many times. So, and also that when you take a look at the managers who are arrogant and ignorant, that could cause a lot of issues. So instead of open-minded managers and then try to understand it and try to help the team, instead they put their inadequate knowledge into the project. That could cause a problem, and because they lack knowledge, they can make a lot of mistakes, and because they are manager and the team try to help them, but they don't want to listen. So that is one of the first place that could cause project to have issues in requirement gathering or throughout the project in many different areas. So what is the next reason? Let's get started. Requirements of business process. So in many cases, when they try to understand the business process, so let's get started. Who to better understand and who better can document? So many times consultants try to document the process, but the user who's doing it, or the group of users who are doing the process, they can document better than a consultant. So that is one of the areas that can be improved, and that is an issue that when knowledge becomes secondhand and then afterward you try to write the requirement, then that can cause an issue. So in many time meetings keep happening, and meetings are keep happening for the requirement gathering, but is it productive or not? So because in many meetings, what is discussed, if requirement gathering issues are discussed, or what other topics are discussed. So and after the meeting is done, do we document? Minutes of meeting are generated or not? And so in many cases, documentation is excused with that. In this methodology, we do not document. If you do not document, how would you know? And then how would we proceed forward and move forward with this not documented process? So that is an issue. So where requirements are get missed, and where they don't get documented, and where methodology excuses are happening, and the business is lacking knowledge about methodology. So methodology know-how should be given to the users beforehand, or at least some highlights, and maybe take a help from business to document and try to understand from their perspective. So solution and requirement gathering. So in many cases, if consultant come in with the application they have and the old application that user have, they're trying to give their perspective, and then consultant will come in into the requirement gathering and give a solution within a meeting of requirement gathering. That can cause a confusion, and that can cause misunderstanding from the user standpoint. And best practices. So again, so maybe best practices for the new software. For example, SAP has their best practices, but this is for SAP relevant. It is not relevant for the business. Business might have their own best practices, which is fit their need and to have best performance out of it. But if we, for example, if one solution fits all, we take example of SAP. SAP have solution, and you need to adopt this. I don't think many processes or all processes are like this. You cannot put one solution fits all approach, where we have to develop SAP and maybe change SAP and do enhancement and development. So that is example that so best practices of business might be supersede of the application is getting implemented, because this application do not have this solution. So and then also many cases I have seen that and in many cases you will see that is when consultants do not want to see existing application. If we do not understand the current application, how it works, and try to understand conceptually, that would not be helpful, because there could be a critical information in this application that you can see they are using right now that SAP might miss. So after go live, you see this some issue coming, and because this is missed in requirement gathering, that has become a big issue. So that is their people engagement and management. So so how to get best out of user to understand process. So maybe try to help them that whatever you are doing, it is a part of the area, but maybe it just need to be connected with other people, and what is next person is doing, and what is before is happening, what is after is happening, and what are you doing. So that is a give them a picture that when you're trying to understand the bigger picture in requirement gathering, and try to have them engaged into the requirement gathering. So instead of giving them the existing the new application and then getting them confused. So maybe you can sit with one-on-one session instead of team meeting, and maybe you can gather more understanding, because maybe it's much more comfortable if you are on one-on-one session instead of in the team scenario where the 10 people are sitting in meeting and everybody have their own process, and some other people have some speaking. So maybe it is better to understand one-on-one in some cases if this process is more critical. So, and also it's very helpful to take a look at the application and try to understand it, because that will give them a comfort the user is, and also you will capture the details of this process that is need to be captured. So politics and insecurities. So politics exist in every day of life and everything. So we need to avoid politics and in every way. But if the management it is lacking knowledge and application, so the politics start from there, and then as favoritism start, and then lot of negative issues start from there. So the approach should be taken from there is should not be politics in the project. There should not be insecurities in a project that people going behind each other. It should be that how to what is the end goal, what is the vision of the project, what is the end goal, what team trying to get out of it. So teamwork is much more essential than getting deviate into this politics that he said or she said or this and that. So that is exist in every project, and you have to deal with this in many different projects and many different perspectives. So that is out there, and feedback. So uh, in many cases, if the user is not giving feedback, then how would the requirement gathering team would understand what is happening? And feedback is essential on everything. So if I do not capture your feedback onto this video, how would I know that what I'm missing? So that's how you can improve. So if a team is not capturing feedback and they're not learning from their mistakes, that will not help, and that will not help the the customers who trying to get implementation of this software. So it is always essential to capture, maybe capture without name, have them send out some, you have seen in many places where people drop their notes into the box where they do not write their name and information, but they leave a feedback. So maybe that's how you can capture somehow without so correction is not possible without feedback. And I would ask you to leave a feedback on this video, leave a comment, and thank you very much for watching this video. And what do you think about what are the issues in requirement gathering and blueprint? Please leave your comment and let me know, and it will help other people as well. Thank you very much.